I'm going to start off by asking you, does it bother you when people assume that you're a stripper?
Before we continue, I think you should subscribe. Thanks.
Hey Shapers, welcome back to Shaping Sarah, a space where you can get motivated on all things pole, fitness, and personal development. Y'all, we need to talk. We got some confessions. We got some pole confessions today.
And today's comment shout out goes to Shadows of Nightmare, who says, "How do you not have more subscribers? Your content is filmed so professional and your energy is amazing. Keep it up." Well, greatness takes time, and I know my time to shine is coming very soon. But thank you.
Before we get started, we have a special guest. Okay, y'all gotta say hi. Don't be rude. Don't be rude. Dirty Diana.
Oh, I love that's my intro. It's
That's your intro song.
So my name is Diana. I'm a pole artist from Montreal. I've been pole dancing for 7 years now.
Round of applause.
Yeah. 7 years and a half.
That's really long.
It's a really long time. I'm so passionate about it and working on making it my full-time thing.
What are you most proud of in your 7-year pole journey?
One of the things I'm most proud of is just the network that I've managed to build through sharing my pole videos on Instagram. I've managed to make so many connections that way, and with people that I wouldn't have otherwise met in different countries and different industries, and just other creative people like musicians, photographers, and just other pole dancers. So it's really exciting.
And what did that network help you to accomplish?
A lot of exciting opportunities.
You don't gotta be humble, by the way. You don't gotta be humble over here, okay? You can promote yourself like crazy.
Performing opportunities and also teaching people. I've had a bunch of people just come to me to take my pole classes, and they say oh, I'm only here visiting, but I really wanted to take a pole class with you.
Wow, that's good.
Yeah, I'm wow.
She's international, baby.
Yeah, right? And obviously my pole competitions that I've won.
Yeah, so if you guys didn't know, Diana and I actually went to the same high school, but we never talked.
I never talked to anyone. I just had no friends.
She was just very to herself.
I just thought everyone didn't like me.
How can nobody like you if you don't even talk?
Exactly.
I've never heard her talk.
Y'all need to see what she looked like in high school. Oh yeah, and quick disclaimer.
Some of the things that we're gonna say, they're not what you want to hear. Don't come at my neck in the comments. I don't want you to come at my neck, okay? We're here to just talk about our opinions, and they might differ. It's okay if we don't have the same opinions, and I actually encourage that. I want people to have different opinions so that we can talk in the comments and, all share our opinions respectfully, okay? Let's get into it. Okay. The first pole confession that I want to talk about today. I want to talk about the pressure to always be perfect. I want to start off with a question for you. So think about the last time that you learned a new pole trick. How many attempts did it take for you to successfully get it?
I don't even remember the last time I learned something new, honestly. I've just been training for this competition, just redoing the same things over and over again. Well, it's one thing to get it, right? But then it's another thing to get it done perfectly enough to post it.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of tries.
What's the most recent trick that you tried? Or can you remember one? It's been that long?
Well, no, actually, no, I do remember it. Last month or something, I tried something that I saw on Instagram. It took me 10 tries to get it properly.
There's been so many times we go on Instagram, we see these pole tricks that look easy, and we're like, oh, I could do that.
The stuff I actually post on my feed, literally thousands of attempts. So many repetitions through the years, to get it.
The art of pole is really to try to make it look effortless and easy when it's actually really hard. What you see is not what it feels like. It looks easy, but when you're actually trying it, you're gonna be so confused when you try it the first time. So that pressure to be perfect in the pole community, I find that's really something that a lot of people deal with. Like I said, things look so much easier than they actually are, but that's part of the learning curve. When you're trying a new trick, you're trying it so many times and it's just not working. It's not supposed to work because it's hard. What I mean?
You've only really mastered a trick once you can make it look effortless.
Exactly.
And once you can make people think oh, I can just try that.
I can try that. With the audience that you have, Diana, do you feel like the pressure to be perfect became more intense now?
Yeah, definitely.
Talk about it, girl.
Yeah, I actually struggled with that a lot, training for my competitions this year, just because. So I did my first competition 4 years after I first started pole dancing.
It took a while.
Yeah, I did, because I feel right now in Montreal especially, everyone wants to compete. But back then I really didn't know anyone that was competing. It was like pretty new and like not something that I could like really go to someone else and give me advice on. So it just like felt really
scarier maybe.
Yeah, exactly. It felt really scary and I just wanted to feel like I was good enough to compete. So anyways, I did, and I did really well and I was really proud of myself, and I placed first. And I felt like that really like established my credibility like in the industry, like just because after that the panorama happened in 2020, so like I couldn't do the competitions. Yeah. I took like a 3-year break from like live performances, and I gained a much larger like audience on Instagram through these 3 years.
So if I understand, you had 3 years of no performance, but at the same time your Instagram audience was growing. So you're like, what the hell, I'm a fraud. Like
exactly. That's exactly what I felt like. I had like a couple videos that I guess did really well, like 1 million views. So many more people were just watching me. So many more people, just like people that are like, I look up to them, right? I was like, okay, I don't have anything to show other than my poll videos online. Once I decided, okay, I'm gonna finally like sign up for these competitions again, there was this immense pressure because once I announced it, everyone was like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited, you're gonna win it. Like everyone was just like rooting for me, and that's great. But it also just felt like, what if something goes wrong and like I don't even place in the top 3? That's embarrassing. It's not great to feel that way. Not just that, but then someone had suggested I have a PayPal link for people to donate towards my comp journey. And I was like, okay. I raised like $800.
Wow. Right? Okay, so that's even more pressure.
That's even more pressure.
People are actually giving you their money.
Exactly. People want to see me compete. I just want to like not let them down.
Yeah. Damn, that's a lot. It's like you have to win at that point.
I know. I was like, I can't. Like honestly, it was a mental challenge. I think like training for these comps, because I don't know how I would have taken like
not winning.
Placing.
But you just know that people are supporting you because they just like to see you dance.
Yeah, for sure.
Don't think that people are like, if she doesn't win first place, I'm unfollowing her. I'm never gonna support her again. Like, no, people just want to see you on stage, you know? So you have to think about it that way.
Exactly.
So me, I don't like that pressure of being perfect. So the way I relieve it is by sometimes posting my myself messing up the trick or trying 1,000,000 times and it not working. I feel like that helps me relieve that pressure to be perfect, because now people know that I'm not perfect. So how do you feel about that? I know it's a little like, you know, you want to be seen as professional because you are professional, but you also don't want that pressure to be perfect. So how do you feel about like, because I haven't seen you post your ups, and there's nothing wrong if you don't. I'm not saying you should, but I want to explore that a little bit.
I usually post them if it's like something funny, like not me just like attempting moves and then not succeeding. It's usually like if I fall out of it or something happens, I trip, you know, I post those because they're like entertaining. But yeah, I don't know, I put pressure on myself to be perfect even if no one else does. It's just always been a thing. It's not great. Like I'm trying to work on that, because that it takes me so long to like film something that's like good enough to post, and people just want to see me post it, you know, they don't really care like if it's that perfect.
For me, it's just like I never want people to think that what we're doing is easy.
Yeah.
So that's why I post like those fuck ups, because I'm like, I don't want y'all to think for 1 second that everything we do is easy, because then you're not going to understand the work behind it, I guess. So that's just my point of view. But I once read a caption from Leah Pohl. Shout out to Leah Pohl, by the way. She has a lot of videos on Instagram. And one of her captions said, I feel pressure to be perfect all the time because I was able to learn pole quickly. I feel like I can't revert, because if I do, then imposter syndrome kicks in. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I can relate to that so much. I was one of those people that the first few years of pole, every trick I attempted, I kind of got it after the first couple of tries.
Exactly, me too.
And also probably because you had a background where you were already like active and doing sports. Like I was a gymnast, so
there you go.
That literally like so much upper body strength that is so necessary for pole. Now I'm dealing with this. I'm at a level where like it's very hard to get better because I'm already really advanced. There's so many tricks I still want to learn, but they're not tricks I can attempt on my own. They're dangerous, and trying to be as safe as I can. Like I wouldn't just go and like do something on my own without a proper spot. But because it's so hard now to like get new tricks, I'm almost kind of like, I'm dealing with
stuck a little bit.
I'm kind of stuck, and I'm kind of dealing with the imposter syndrome, because I'm like, well, this year I've learned maybe like one thing. you know, and in the past, I'd be learning 15 moves a year.
And that's actually a good thing that you brought it up, because the more you get advanced, the more the tricks become dangerous. Really, you can get concussions and stuff.
They require a lot more strength and a lot more flexibility. For me to get better, it's like I need private lessons with an instructor that can guide me through it, and also like actually, you know, do conditioning and do like flexibility routines to like improve my flexibility, not just maintain it. And it's just like a lot of work that I didn't necessarily have to put in at the beginning. And so now I'm like not used to putting in that much work to get better at pole.
By the way, guys, imposter syndrome, if you guys don't know, it's when you doubt your skills so much to the point where you start to think people might see you as a fraud. All this to say, even if you're 7 years into your pole journey or 2 years into your pole journey, there's gonna be mistakes, there's gonna be imperfections. You can't be perfect all the time, and you're gonna hit some plateaus sometimes, you're gonna hit some times of uncertainty, but that's just part of the journey. You have to embrace that journey, embrace the flaws, and just wanting to be perfect all the time, I feel like that can eventually chip away at your passion. So it's really important to be careful with that. Like, don't try to be too perfect all the time and present yourself like, you know, perfectly every time, because that pressure that you put on yourself, it could really start to make you hate pole. Like straight up. There's always something you could have done better. If you look at your competition, I look at it like, wow, like amazing. Maybe you're looking at it like, I could have done that split better, or I could have done this better. So there's always something you could do better. You know? There's no point of like picking at things.
Before we continue, I think you should subscribe. Thanks.
So the next pole confession is you're gonna be called a stripper. Okay, I know this is a touchy topic, I know, but I'm not here to, I feel like this is the part where we're gonna be like, I don't know what to say.
Yeah, this is the part.
I'm gonna start off by asking you, does it bother you when people assume that you're a stripper?
Honestly, it does. Because I'm not. I don't like people to assume that I'm pole dancing for men. I think that's my issue. I don't have an issue with strippers or like the sex work industry. It's just not something I'm personally like doing, and I just don't want people to assume that the reason I post my pole videos on the internet is to like get the attention from men. That's not my goal, and I think that's why it bothers me.
I'm gonna say one thing, the comparison makes sense. Like when people are looking at pole dancers and they assume that they're strippers, I can understand. It makes sense. That's because stripping is where it all started. Like the first time people saw poles is in the club. Okay, it's not in a home. So let's be real clear about that. So the comparison, I understand. But the truth is, nobody likes being called something they're not. That's just what it is. Let's think about it this way. Some people take dance classes. Does not mean they want to be professional dancers. If someone takes ballet classes, that doesn't mean they want to be a professional ballet dancer. If someone takes pole classes, that doesn't mean they want to be a pole artist, or it doesn't mean they want to be a stripper. Some people take classes, dance classes, just for self-expression, just to relieve stress. There's so many reasons why someone would be dancing and taking dance classes, or even posting it online. There's so many reasons why people would post dance online. But sometimes, you know, people assume that because you're taking a dance class, because you're posting online, you want to be a stripper, which I don't agree with that. I don't think that's necessarily the case. The one thing that I don't respect, I have zero respect for people who start taking pole dance classes and they want to like stay far, far away from the stripper culture. I don't want to say names, but I've heard some people really just, they want no association with it. They don't want to talk about it. They're disgusted by it. I have no respect for people like that, just because you got to know where this shit came from. Like if you want to really dive yourself into an art, where you have to understand where it comes from, and you have to at least put some respect on the reasons why other people are pole dancing. You could be pole dancing just because you want to do it for fun, but other people are pole dancing because they want to get that money in the club. They want to pay their bill. They want to get that money. There's nothing to disrespect there. In your 7-year pole journey, around different types of pole dancers, have you ever heard of people like explicitly tell you, I don't like strippers, I don't like the whole thing?
Okay, I was 17 when I started taking pole classes.
Really?
Yeah, so I think that's important to mention, because me back then, of course I would tell my friends like, I'm not a stripper though. Like because
you were young.
Yes, I was young, you know. So obviously I don't want my friends to think like I'm a stripper, so I'm gonna be saying that. But now like after like growing up a little bit, understanding like the complexities of like how to navigate explaining to people that you don't strip, but also getting across the point that like you need to respect where it came from. I think I understand that a lot more now than like when I was
of course, at 17 you're not gonna,
of course.
You're
and
not
also
gonna
like my mom was paying for my pole lessons. Like I had to go and ask my parents like sign me up for pole lessons. Obviously when I was presenting pole dancing to them, I need to be like, no, it's like an art, it's a sport. I don't want to be a stripper.
At 17 you have have to.
Yeah,
Like,
of
you have
course.
to.
Like, of course. Some of my family members, I hear them talk about, how I pole and whatever, and some of the words that they use to explain it to others is like a little bit, kind of bashing strippers.
Okay.
Like, my daughter is not a stripper, but she does this.
Yeah, I
But
get
also,
that.
you need to understand, like,
Oh, what the bro, I hate these. Yo, there's just this Amber Alert, and I'm like, yo, are we dying?
I hate that sound so much.
Why do they make it sound like that?
It's just a test. There is no danger.
Anyways, but yeah, as we were saying, at
Yeah.
17 years old, I'm sorry, but you're gonna have to present it a different way
Yeah,
if you want
exactly.
your
So,
parents to
like,
say.
I'm gonna be fully honest and say that, like, yeah, back then when I did start, I was one of those people that was like, I'm not a stripper though.
Yeah.
But it's because of how young I was, and I didn't have a community of like pole friends. Like,
Yeah.
it was really like, what are you doing?
But I just want to make it clear that like just saying that you're not a stripper, that's not
It's
offensive.
not exactly.
I don't
it's
think
not
that's offensive.
It's
I'm not a stripper. I'm just not.
Yeah, I've seen some people like get upset when like other pole dancers just state that they're not a stripper because they assume like there's some judgment there. But
I'm just not a stripper.
Yeah, I've had people like message me with the assumption that I am a stripper, asking me for my rate for like a private show or like.
Yeah.
I say no, I'm not a stripper.
I feel like nowadays when you start pole dancing, teachers or the community in general make it very clear that don't bash strippers.
Yeah, I actually feel like when I started, it wasn't like that.
Mm-hmm.
It was more so like, let's make sure everyone knows we're not strippers.
And that was in what time, like what year approximately?
2015.
So from 2015, the mentality seemed to be that, we're not strippers, we're pole dancers,
Yeah.
it's completely different. Now things have evolved. If someone's starting pole dance today or in the last year since 2020, there's less, I don't know, maybe there is and I'm just not aware of it, but I feel like people are a little bit more like, no, we have to respect everyone's
Yeah.
reason for pole dancing because we're all in the same community. Everyone
Yeah.
has different reasons. I did a little bit of research and I kind of noticed that in the 90s, strippers started teaching non-strippers how to pole dance if they wanted to pole dance outside of the clubs or anything. So
But for sure, strippers were the first teachers and the first to like open up pole studios.
that's true. They started doing DVDs
Yeah.
of like home poles in like early 2000s.
Yeah.
So people started buying poles at home and like pole dancing outside of clubs. But essentially it started at the club, girl. It started at the
for
club.
Sure, for sure.
So always got to be respectful of where it came from. It's like, it's two different things. Like, yes, I'm not a stripper and I don't want to be known as one because I'm
Yeah,
not.
'cause I'm not.
And it's fair, but there's also like, there's a line that can't be crossed. If someone's asking you if you're a stripper and you get like super offended or like overly
Yeah.
reactive, that kind of crosses the line a little bit, I find.
Yeah.
So there's two sides of this conversation. So there's the stripper side and then there's the non-stripper side. I would have loved to have a stripper on this video. I am planning a separate video and I would love for a stripper to be part of that video so that we can talk about this and make a whole video about it. But have you heard anything from the stripper side about this whole conversation?
Yeah, I've seen like posts on social media and essentially just being a little bit annoyed or upset how non-stripper pole dancers can just, dress up and like play pretend, wear the high heels, but then not get the stigma. So yeah, there's a bit of like,
Friction? Like,
yeah, I've seen people say that there's no reason for a non-stripper pole dancer to wear heels.
oh, interesting.
Yeah, because then we're just making it more difficult for them to get their work shoes.
What? It's so accessible. Is it?
Yeah,
Is it not
well,
accessible?
Well, apparently, there's more demand.
Okay,
so
yeah, more demand, higher the
things
price.
higher the price, things get sold out quicker, but I personally feel like you can't just like gatekeep
Okay.
shoes. They're just high heels, and yeah, of course, like they're very much associated as stripper heels, but people wear them for like Halloween costumes. Like, celebrities like Lady Gaga wears pleasers so often, and so does Ariana Grande. Like,
That's a good point you bring
Yeah.
up. I can understand if, we're raising the prices because the demand is higher, but maybe higher demand. I mean, I'm sure there's been more pleaser companies reappearing
Yes.
now that the demand is high.
Exactly,
They
there's
see
more
potential.
companies now.
Yeah. So maybe, that's another side of the story too.
Yeah.
So I'm not at a point where I like wearing heels. It's just because it's heavy. Like, it's heavy on the ankles in my opinion. I just want to solidify my skills without the heels and get
Yeah.
stronger so that when I do have my heels on, I can like,
Yeah,
I don't know.
for sure. Like, I only started wearing heels about like 3 years after I
Yeah.
did pole. Yeah. Honestly, it's a whole different technique. too.
Yeah, that's the
dancing
thing.
with heels and without heels. Like, some people ask me like, well, why do you need to wear those heels? And like, no, you don't need to. But for the style that I'm going for, like, it's not just for aesthetic reasons, but it actually has like a functional purpose.
Yeah.
That's the reason they're 8 inches and not higher or lower. It's because the platform itself, the point of the shoe, actually is what helps you like do the pirouettes in a more graceful way.
That's
like
true.
You just move a specific way that you can't achieve barefoot, and you also can't achieve with other heels. It's like literally those specific heels. So, you know, like again, when strippers say like, well, there's no reason for you to wear one. Well, I like for my dancing to look a certain way, and I can't replicate that without the heels.
So I've heard of strippers saying that non-stripper pole dancers are stealing their jobs. How do you feel about that?
I don't understand that, because we're not stripping. So we're not stealing any of the strip club opportunities. I actually think it's a lot harder to make a living out of pole dancing without also stripping. There aren't that many opportunities yet for non-stripper pole dancers to make money off of dance. There's a lot of money to be made in stripping, but not everyone is comfortable with that type of work. It's emotional labor, like, and there's a lot more that goes into stripping than just dancing. If it was just dancing, yes, then like maybe, yeah, pole dancers would be like stealing their jobs. But, like, stripping is more so about connecting with the customer, like one-on-one. Like you want to like make them feel like understood and like listened to. You want to be flirty with them, give them like a good time. It's a lot of social skills, private dances that involve more than just like performing.
Exactly. I can understand this argument in the sense sometimes strippers are asked to perform in music videos or asked to perform in concerts maybe. So I can understand that side of like maybe we're stealing their jobs, or we're making it maybe a little more competition.
Yeah, I think it's more competition because
competition.
I think right now with the pole community becoming more and more mainstream, I feel like I understand why strippers feel maybe like, okay, well, why are the pole dancers getting those jobs and not the strippers?
Yeah.
But also I think that in the end, the pole community like getting more mainstream is a good thing for everyone, the strippers as well. It's only by this that we're creating more opportunities
and demand
for work outside of the club. And usually what they're looking for in those types of gigs, right? It's they want like high level acrobatic skills. And so I think like if a stripper has like those high level acrobatic skills, then like there's no reason why like she wouldn't get the job like over like someone that doesn't strip.
Exactly.
Like, you know, because they don't care whether you actually strip or not. They
I don't
just
think they
want
care.
a certain vibe for their performance. I think like in the end it's a great thing that it's becoming more mainstream.
Like you said, it depends on the style, it depends on the type of performance they want. People who hire pole dancers for their video shoots or whatever, they don't all want just acrobatic shit. Sometimes they want someone to twerk, get in that split, shake their ass, and give them something to look at. Like
yeah, for sure.
And that's not something that I would do.
Exactly. Like, I was just gonna say that's not my vibe either. And that's like where strippers were like they're more like comfortable with performing in that way, then that's a great like gig for them, you know,
because there's so many different styles of pole dancing now. Before it was just in the clubs, there was a specific purpose. It was to seduce, it was to take your clothes off and stuff. Now it's branched out to so many different types of styles that it's more accessible to more people. And I can understand the OG strippers feeling a certain way that now it's more accessible, but it's just more inclusive. Like, isn't that what we're trying to be in general in this world, is a little bit more inclusive to people who are not comfortable wearing revealing clothes, who want to wear shorts and not underwear. Like, it's just inclusivity. I don't know.
And also just people that love to like embrace their sensuality but just don't want to be naked. Like,
straight up. I've spoken to a few strippers who said like pole dancing is not what makes the big bucks.
No, like
it's just not.
Yeah, every single stripper I've spoken to has said the same.
It's your ability, your ability to network, your ability to engage with clients and make them feel comfortable, make them feel, you know, super special and wanted. Selling private dances, that's where the big money is. It's not performing on stage, at least not in Montreal.
Those are skills that non-stripper pole dancers we don't have. Like
we don't have. Do that. Like, I don't do that.
Yeah. Like sometimes people tell me like, oh my gosh, I could make so much money as a stripper. And, like,
I've gotten that.
I don't really think I would, because
if it was based on like just
that's
the skills.
If it was just based on the skills and people were just there to see me do acrobatic tricks,
you would get money. You would get a lot of money.
For sure. I do really well, but the thing is, it's not about that. I don't like talking to men. I can't put on like a fake nice persona.
I don't want to be touched.
I don't want to be touched. I don't want to be like dancing for the male gaze, feeling like my income is depending what a man thinks of my performance,
or a woman, or whoever
body.
shows up. I heard, you know, some strippers maybe saying that they don't like the term pole fitness. because it might stray away from the original source of what pole dance used to be, and it was to seduce. Now it's kind of turning into like a fitness thing, and they're trying to stay away from the pole dancer thing.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
So when I started in 2015, like that's what we were calling it, like pole fitness. And I do think it was like to differentiate for people that didn't know, you know, when you were talking about pole, like it was so they know like, okay, it's for fitness.
Yeah.
I mean, I honestly, like some people really just do it for fitness. I don't think it's a bad term as long as they're not like disrespecting strippers. I think like just using that term is not that big of a deal because literally some people don't even dance.
They just literally work out. Like I've seen videos of men on Instagram like doing the craziest shit on the pole. I don't consider that dance. Like
exactly, yes. Pole dance is just not accurate for them.
That's
pole
true.
Fitness makes more sense. So I understand the term.
But this is why this conversation is so interesting because I can understand both sides. Like the pole fitness, I can understand like if I was a stripper, you know, you want to call it pole fitness because you don't want to associate with me.
Yeah, if people that know my dance style, if I was going to call myself like, oh, I do pole fitness, that's where the issue is.
You're right.
No.
That ain't no fitness, girl.
Exactly. It's not like that. So I think that's the issue. But like if you take someone else who like never dances, literally just like acrobatics, like high level, like strength, you know, and tumbles, flips on the pole, like, no heels, like I can see that as fitness.
As I was doing some research for this particular video, I stumbled upon a YouTube video from Pole Parlor. She was basically saying that pole is just an object. It's really the dancer who determines what type of dance it's going to be. So it's not fair to just see someone pole dancing and assume that they're a stripper or assume that they're put them in a category. No, it's really just them that decide what their pole dancing category is going to be. The next pole confession. So I want to talk about something that Diana has mentioned quite a few times in her story and has been very open about that. It's the concept that pole dancers are not getting paid enough in certain areas. So right now I want to cover pole dancing outside of the clubs. I want to cover pole dancing in terms of the online influencing pole dancer kind of space. Or concerts or performances or even pole teachers. But I wanted you to kind of bring up and tell them, how do you make money as a pole dancer outside of a club? Like what are some of the ways?
I think the main way is actually through teaching. I just teach private classes at the moment. There's performing at events, shows, concerts, photo shoots and music videos.
And now another way Diana makes money is through Divinity Pole Wear, which is her brand she started. She sells grippy thigh highs with knee pads that help you grip to the pole, but also keep your knees safe if you're doing low flows. This is a genius idea, and I'm gonna leave her Shopify link down below. Congratulations to her on selling her very first product.
Affiliate marketing, so that's where like the whole like social media stuff comes in. You have like a large enough platform, you work with brands and they give you a specific code or referral link for you to share with your audience. Every time someone uses your link or code to purchase something from that brand, you get a commission. It adds up. Like when people use your discount codes, it really does add up.
Nowadays, there's so many ways to make money as a pole dancer outside of stripping, especially online if you build a nice audience. Have you ever denied a pole brand partnership because of low pay?
Yeah, definitely. At the beginning, you know, it was exciting, like getting gifted a set, you know, like pole wear is so expensive and I didn't own any. So it was really appealing to me to just like get sent free stuff and post about it. But back then my audience was like only a couple thousand, like it was like under 5,000, right? And I didn't really know how much I can actually monetize my Instagram. Now with my growing audience and my really high engagement rate, like I just feel like it's not fair for a brand to expect me to be okay with a partnership where all they do is just send me their product and then they're asking me for a certain amount of like posts and they have
for free
guidelines. Yeah, for free. Like all I'm getting in return is like their set, but sometimes I can't even choose the set.
Why?
Sometimes they just want promo for a specific a specific item, and then the audacity of them to like I filmed the content for them and they're like, well, we don't really like your background, you have like red curtains.
Stop.
It's happened to me. I'm like, well, you know, you've seen my videos. You see that this is my pole space in my room. It was during the panorama.
Yeah, no, they expect you to go to the photography studio and get like, what the?
Yeah, and they offer nothing. I told them like, if you want me to like refilm this, I could do my best, but I will charge. And they're like, no, it's fine. Like they don't even.
I would be so pissed first of all that because people don't understand that this is work. Like
it is a
setting up your camera, editing the video. That's all hours in your day.
Not just that, but the fact that they come to me because they like my specific style of dancing and they've seen my audience. Like my dance skills, 7 years. And then
7 years.
my audience, 7 years. So for me to like accept free work at this moment, like it's just,
It doesn't make sense.
it doesn't make sense. It did in the past when I was just starting out, but not anymore.
There's some things that, you know, maybe baby polars do that might hinder the progression of the concept of pole dancers being paid fairly. What I'm saying by that is, you know, maybe some of us are accepting free performances. Some of us are charging much less money for private classes
I've seen that.
than the average that is supposed to. So all of those things might hinder the progression. What do you think about that? What have you heard about that?
I've been there. Like when I was starting out, trying to set my rates and everything, I felt like it was only fair to charge less because I had like no experience yet as a teacher. But then I realized I really shouldn't have done that, because then it's really hard to raise those rates. It's an awkward conversation. When you're used to charging someone $30 an hour, which is ridiculous, and now you want to charge them like double. It's like, how do you
explain
you can't
that?
really, like, you know, no, you need to charge what everyone else is charging, no matter how much experience you have. Like you fake it till you make it. Like people don't know. Like people see your skill, they want to hire you, they want
For what they see.
Yes, they want to learn from you. So like you charge them according to the average rate.
And not only is it an awkward conversation when you start raising your prices, but it's also, I feel like, for other artists, for other pole teachers, it's like an unfair competition, if that makes sense.
Exactly. It's an unfair competition, because what you're trying to do is trying to be like, oh, well, other people have so much more experience, I can't possibly charge as much as them. But then by charging so little, you're attracting like more new students and people, you know.
So, all right, guys, so we reached the end of the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. The next thing I want you to watch is 5 tips before you start pole dancing, part 2. If you haven't watched it yet, go watch it. Thank you for all of your knowledge, Diana. Really appreciate it. Thank you guys for watching, and yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.
Yeah, we still don't have an outro, but we gonna figure it out.